Now it is my honor to introduce to you an amazing couple known, I suspect, to most of you. Craig and Kristen and their caregiver, Adam, thank you so much for all you've done to open my eyes to the urgency and the importance of this work. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give them a rousing round of applause and welcome. Thank you.
Y'all know I'm a crier.
Senator, I wasn't expecting that. Didn't you're truly one of a kind.
Go for it.
Hello everyone. I hope that you're enjoying your afternoon. I wanted to take a minute and thank some incredible people. Just over 17 years ago, I would be told that I have ALS and that I have a short time left. As hard as it was to hear that at just 33 years old, there was a group of people that wouldn't give me a chance to think about the doom and gloom. It started with my wife Kristen. She has always been there and has supported every decision that I have made. I love you, Kristen. I then would meet the team now called ALS United Mid-Atlantic. I can't thank them enough for always being there. The most important people are the ones that don't get enough credit. To anyone that has been a caregiver, please know how special you truly are. Okay, now I get a chance to talk about your guest speaker and my friend John Sciambi, or how most know him, Boog. I used to watch a lot of baseball, and my favorite night to watch was Wednesday night on ESPN. I loved listening to the announcer and especially loved a segment called 90 Feet with John. If you have never seen the segment, John would walk with a featured player from third base to home plate asking questions. This is how I learned of what I consider to be the best voice in baseball. In 2016, I would meet the manager of accessibility at Yankee Stadium. She gave me her business card and said whenever you want to come up to a game to let her know. So the following season I called her and said that I would be coming up for Red Sox versus the Yankees game. She asked if I could get there early and I of course said yes. When we arrived she would escort us to the field and give us seats behind home plate. I was in heaven meeting my hometown team players, and some Yankees too. I looked over past the batting cage and there was John. So I asked Kristen to yell out, "Boog." I told her that I would love to get a picture with him, and he came over and couldn't have been nicer. He would grab some players and introduce them to me and get some pictures. I was so caught up in the moment that I didn't realize that Kristen and John were talking. I later would learn that John figured out in 5 minutes what took doctors 14 months to figure out. I would also learn about one of his close friends. Tim had passed away of ALS. From that moment on we would build a friendship, not only with John but also with his friends, that would keep Tim's memory alive. We would stay in touch and meet up at games and at events. John is not one that just talks about helping to make a difference. He continuously brings awareness and funds to help families that need help. Every year you can find him getting managers and players to wear End ALS t-shirts. John now has what most would consider the best announcing job in the business with the Chicago Cubs. John, I knew that the room would be filled with Phillies fans, so I thought it would help to wear this jersey and remind you of home. I know that you will absolutely enjoy your speaker today, so please welcome my friend and the man with the golden voice, John Sciambi.
Surprise.
I love that jersey, buddy. Craig, thank you so much for that. I'm a little off right now. I'm not sure where to start. I guess the first place to start would be that even though, as Craig mentioned, I am the voice of the Chicago Cubs on television, I have a secret. I was born in Nazareth Hospital, and I grew up a diehard Phillies fan. My parents met at Drexel, and my mom worked at the Bloomingdale's in Jenkintown, and we lived in Elkins Park. I think I saw it there. Is that Greg Gross? Yeah. NLCS, I think he had 3 pinch hits, 1980. That was my team, 10-year-old me. Oh my gosh. And in 1998, I got to meet Tug McGraw, the late Tug McGraw, at the All-Star game. And it was at a restaurant bar. And he was there with the late Darren Dalton. And I had gotten to know Darren because the year prior, I was an announcer with the Marlins when they won the World Series in 1997. So I said hello to Dutch, but I didn't meet Tug. Eventually, maybe a little bit of liquid courage, and I went over and explained to Tug that probably the best day of my life was when 10-year-old me was jumping up and down on my mom's bed, and the Phillies had just beaten the Royals in the World Series. And stone-faced, he looked at me and said, "Thanks for making me feel so bleeping old." My grandfather was head of construction for Veterans Stadium. I still have 2 Veterans Stadium seats at my house in Chicago. When we were 7, I moved to New York City. I moved to a little place called Roosevelt Island. It's a sliver of land underneath the 59th Street Bridge. And it was kind of like the island of misfit toys. So I grew up in New York, and there was a whole bunch of kids. There's this one kid that I met, and Craig mentioned him, Tim Sheehy. So Tim became one of my closest friends in childhood. And yeah, we stayed close throughout time on Roosevelt Island. He went to college. I went to college. He had these buddies that played in a band, and he gave me a tape, and it was Hootie and the Blowfish. And Tim was diagnosed with ALS in 2005. And one of the things that you come to find out very quickly for a lot of people are the cost of care can be just crushing. And we needed to figure out a way to help Tim and Katie. And so on this island, Roosevelt Island, there's one street. It's called Main Street. So we decided to form a 501c3 called Project Main Street, where we would raise money to help give care to people living with ALS. And today we still run Project Main Street. Tim lost his battle with ALS at the age of 38 in 2007. Still today, I get an opportunity to advocate, to raise awareness, to try to use my platform, and to try to make people aware. I echo the sentiments from so many of the people that have come up here. I wanted to steal little pieces, whether it's just that this disease is tragically underfunded, or the idea that we just need to make more people aware of the existence of it. I try as best I can to continue in Tim's memory, but at the very least I get a chance to push forward. And the biggest thing that I've learned in trying to be of service for Project Main Street and people living with the disease is you come to find out that as the disease moves on, so often people's worlds get smaller and smaller because you lose the ability to move and the ability to communicate. And so just by being here, your presence, your willingness to be involved, there's an element that you're saying to people living with ALS, I see you. And one of the biggest things, research, financial assistance, but I think for so many of the people living with the disease, it is, I see you, we didn't forget about you. And that's the thing that really stays with me. And there are plenty of people, Tim Kirkchin was mentioned, my colleague at ESPN, he lost his brother Matt to ALS. There are so many warriors that we've lost, whether it was Pete Frates, who was the founder along with Pat Quinn of the Ice Bucket Challenge, Phil Green, and people like Craig who are still fighting, people like Sarah Langs, people like Steve Gleason, people like Scott Asplund. As an aside, I did want to say, Brian Rosica, the description of what it's like to have ALS will stick with me for the rest of my life. If somebody says a joke, I am sitting there thinking to myself, that was funny. I still want to crush a buffalo cheese pizza. I still get hangry. Yeah, that was an incredible gift to give the people in this room, to let them know what it's like to live with ALS. Last thing that I just wanted to say is I love being up here and standing with the Colbys and Adam, and I really love the idea of ALS United. It was alluded to earlier, but I think that one of the things that we have to continue to do to push forward is to be united and continue to pull on the same rope, because it is going to take everyone and it's going to take collaboration. And all I can say is that I'll continue to use my platform to raise funds for research, for care, for awareness, to help people through Project Main Street in any way that I can. I'm honored to be here today. I'm ultimately a Philly kid at heart, and I'm really grateful that I was asked to be here. And I want to say to all the different people suffering and fighting ALS that are in this room, I just want to say thank you for being here, and we see you and we love you. Thank you.